Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 22 Driver Career Mode with Alfa Romeo, episode number 26 today for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the Season 2, round number 4. If you missed the previous episode uploaded on Monday at Australia, I recommend you go and check that out, and of course subscribing to the channel, see plenty more F1 22 Driver Career Mode videos. But R&D wise this video then, bit umming and ahhing on what we should be doing. With R&D, we've got a minus DRS upgrade that we could rush. We weren't able to rush any upgrades in Season 1 because the Williams department wasn't high enough, basically. Sashi wise, minor weight redistribution as well. Bearing in mind we've got that weight reduction and there's tyre wear available as well. On the engine side, we're pretty good on the engine side. We're actually the third fastest engine behind Alpine and Red Bull. I think we're going to put a DRS upgrade and try and rush it in for Imola, because you all know how powerful the DRS upgrade. I was going to put minor drag reduction on as well, but that's failed. Then we got, and I think we're going to go for an ERS upgrade because that will be useful as well. It's a major ERS upgrade as well. Might as well make use of it. Good! Okay, that's failed. And the major weight reduction upgrade also failed as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. Those will come in for Spain now. Which, to be fair, we do need DRS at Spain as well. But, you know, at the same time, especially the weight reduction, that was a huge upgrade. As it happens, it's a minor upgrade that we've got, and you can see here we would have probably been able to jump a couple of teams there with those, especially with that major weight reduction upgrade, and possibly be maybe the fourth fastest team on the grid. I don't know it. The grid is that close. And speaking of the grid, I'm going to put a little disclaimer in now for qualifying. As you know, it's a sprint weekend, so there's only one practice session, and it was full wets. And as you know, I'm not very good in the full wet conditions usually, so I didn't really improve on that much on the race director, so I left the AI for qualifying at the previous level that they were from Australia, 85 I think it was, and basically slightly regretting, we're up in P8 actually. So to be fair, our first time is good, but now we're going to really start to improve as we go through this corner. So fine to get this corner. It's a lot better on this year's game compared to when we first had Imola now. They fixed that with the assist there. Gone purple sector 1 as well. What can we do in sector 2 and sector 3? That's where I'm weakest against the AI. Through this corner, it's always a lazy corner. I don't want to run wide too much there. Then through into this corner again. This section has also been improved from F1 2021. I feel personally, it's a nice to drive. 3/10 up on Perez, who's once again isn't having a very good qualifying through the lazy section, trying to not to get the huge sausage curbs, otherwise you'll get floor damage. Down the hill we go, and then basically through into the last two corners, which are lightning corners. Just don't get on the gravel there, and at the final exit final corner up to the line, open the DRS, and I believe, what is that? It's P3. So we've gained 5 positions as well, and we're only 700ths off pole in an AlphaTauri. That's just how, look out, the top 8 separated by 0.2 of a second. Gasly 0.7 up. The whole grid separated by 1.1 seconds. And that's just how tight it is as well. But obviously we'll be up in the AI for the sprint and then also the race as well. I think we ended up on 91 for the race itself as well. So we'll see what we can do. It's time for the race, today's sprint.
So it is all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Phoenix, Sainz, George Russell and Norris, Hamilton, Perez, Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, Albon, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Latifi, Bottas, Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Robert Schwartzman. Joe, Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
This is the team's home race. We're all relying on you to impress today.
No pressure then, Mark. As race strategy doesn't come into a sprint, especially a 5-lap sprint. That's 5 red lights then for the sprint, and away we go. And as usual on this game, it's a woeful start. There through goes Sainz. He's had a biblical start. Russell all over the back of us as well, as is Lando Norris in the McLaren. They pincered it in. We're going to brake early, and there's the contact we were fearing. Russell definitely has a front wing damaged going through sector 1. But you know, they just pincered me in. I just saw race-ending contact. It stuck our nose in there as well. And I let Lando and George make contact, and there's the front wing end plate. What looks like the Mercedes, I think. Russell has survived. We've got the other Mercedes though to worry about though of Hamilton, trying to keep him behind. Mercedes of course bought those upgrades. Didn't do so much well in qualifying, but maybe, you know, the race pace is where those upgrades have improved. Always struggle for traction out of that corner. They are just biblical out of that corner. We're going to force Hamilton off, however. He's had a bit of a moment. I think there's a bit of a moment as well for one of the Ferraris as well. Replay on board with Hamilton. Is there a little bit of contact here? No. It's just very fair racing as Perez is actually going to get in front of Hamilton there. We're going to get just look further back. While this was happening, Sebastian Vettel ahead of Perez, who's been battling for pretty much half the races this year, went wide of that corner, and then of course slight contact with Daniel Ricciardo behind. As Perez now, we're just going to let him go. He's far too fast for us, and also part of the Red Bull family, you know. Especially Leclerc having that engine penalty. Perez has to be the main man for Red Bull during the race. As Leclerc isn't running away, he's holding his own, but isn't able to run away from Verstappen, and you know, and also Sainz and Norris, the top four drivers, the top 4 in form in this championship. As well, Perez then, as well as Hamilton runs wide. Vettel though unable to get him again. Jump to lap 3. Now DRS is enabled. We're going to play the strategy card of letting the driver in front go through and then have the DRS. We've got quite a lot of ERS as well to play with, even without that major upgrade that's coming the Spanish Grand Prix, hopefully, without failure. We're going to have Hamilton back here down the inside and move up. Oh, he's made contact. There's contact with Hamilton. Yes. Did he turn in on us? I wonder. You know, we died down the inside, and then it was like, yes, I was a little bit understeer there with the car that made me go straight on, but at the same time, Lewis just acted like I wasn't there. Didn't look in his mirrors at the dive bomb. We were iffy. Let me know what you think in the comments below about that one. Also almost went into the path of Vettel as well, but we have got floor damage now, so any chance of catching the top 5 has gone, and we're really now pretty much turn this into a trolley train as well, with pretty much the rest of the grid behind us, slowing down as Vettel has to go around the outside of the chicane. We're not absolutely in no way allowed now. That's going to allow Hamilton to get back in front. We'll get a replay of that move. So Vettel, he goes deep into the corner and then gets on that yellow sausage curve, and Hamilton was always going to make the move up there. And that was the chaotic sprint. Basically Leclerc ran away, and we're going to cross the line, just about to hold on to P6 in the end as well, but it could have been a lot worse. You know, Hamilton with his turning in on me, a bit 50-50, but at the same time he just didn't see us at all. You know, though it's a dry race, there's supposed to be mirrors, but 3 points. First, I think that's my first points in the sprint, in a sprint race as well, in this career mode. So I'll have to check about that, but I think that's right. Gasly as well, making up positions. That will obviously, he is fastest lap as well than us. So 6th place and 10th place, you know, we can make this work. We'll see though what we can do from the 6th place on the grid time for the race.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters in red today. They've all turned out for what we have every expectation will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Perez, Phoenix and Hamilton, Vettel, Ricciardo, Gasly and Nicholas Latifi, Leclerc, Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda and Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Lance Stroll and Kevin Magnussen, Russell and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Thanks, Mark. As race strategy, we're not really high enough, unlike last time in Australia where we did that medium to soft style. It's slightly slower, but I think we want. It's crucial to get ahead into turn 1 here and have a good start, so we'll do soft to mediums. Pretty much everyone else is doing that as well. So 5 lights in and away we go, and it's a slightly better start than the sprint, but we're still going to lose out to Hamilton there. We're going to squeeze him to the right hand side and try not to get there. We get a warning, and there's again a little bit PTSD from the Russell and Norris thing, but unfortunately Ricciardo and Hamilton go through and take full advantage of there. As we watch on board with Lando Norris across, promoted up to P3, make that P2 as makes a lovely little move around his former teammate Carlos Sainz and slots into P2 behind the race leader Max Verstappen. As Gasly now, he's had a great start up to P8, Vettel's P9 as well. As well, of course, Leclerc had that penalty behind us, the only one. So yes, as we're watching Sergio Perez, he's now been threatened by Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Hamilton's going to go side by side through that section. Hamilton's race line is compromised, and now they're going to start. That's locking is actually going to allow us to catch up to Daniel Ricciardo and the McLaren. But can we get past the Australian, who he hasn't been great so far in this career mode? Try and go around the outside. Is he going to give us room? No. We're going to take a wide line. He's taking a shallow line, so we should be able to try and get the better exit and a bit of OP traction there as we go up. But we have got the setup for this with the low drag setup and absolutely yeeting the DRS. The ERS, and right on the outside, bit of contact there, bit on the curb there, a little bit wide, but we do make the move on Daniel Ricciardo, which is crucial. And then here's a replay there, trying to push Ricciardo as much to the inside as possible. Ricciardo wasn't then having any of that, but we just forced our way through anyway. I can't be stuck behind Ricciardo now, and up another position. Was there any contact between myself and Ricciardo? A little bit of grazing contact there. Ricciardo actually steps out of it in the end in turn 1, but again, out of that corner, Ricciardo has the traction. We're going to squeeze him to the inside, take the outside move. He tries to a little bit of track extending, and I think Ricciardo is actually going to retire from the race on that. Just from that ever so slight, there's actually even contact here, or a little bit on the front wing, which allows also Gasly to get past as here's the aerial view then. Behind us also, Sebastian Vettel also having issues as he's been overtaken, or attempt to be overtaken, by Perez, who gets past Vettel, as Ricciardo is now going slowly. What is happening here? Ricciardo is out of the race. They're about 6 or 7 wide going through that corner, so that's created a big rift. That's allowed Leclerc to catch up to both myself and Gasly, who I'm sure he will go through on both of us, given the form he's in. As we're coming into the pits then, the end of lap number 6 onto lap 7. 2.4 second stop, and that's very good. We'll technically take that. But that's the thing, we don't get those slower stops anymore. Unless there's an error. Some of the pit crew, which we haven't had, we've only had what? I don't think we've had none of them. Very few of those as well, which makes that turning thing pointless. But anyway, jumping to lap 8, there's Leclerc, and unfortunately we've been jumped by our teammate Pierre Gasly, who's looking very good in this race, I must admit, with his pace. However, we have the ace on our sleeve, Leclerc. Leclerc is faster than Gasly in the faster car, obviously, and we're just going to let him pass there, and hopefully he can then get involved with Gasly. Meanwhile, behind us, we've got Valtteri Bottas. I haven't seen him all season in the Aston Martin. Made the move, probably regretting it, after being dumped after Alfa Romeo. As well, he's in P9, so could get some points, or down to P10 as Latifi goes past. There's a bit of contact between Gasly and Leclerc. Exactly what we wanted, though, to get past our French teammate as well. Leclerc ran the outside. Gasly not keen to give him any room. There's a little bit of contact there, and we just follow them through, almost going into the back of Leclerc. They were so slow through that corner, and now Leclerc's going to run away. It's myself against Gasly, and we're just going to play even worse tactics, because that DRS detection point is before the last corner. So we give him the outside of the last corner, and we can just take the inside, get DRS, and try to keep the position, although we don't have enough pace to be able to get away. A little bit deep on this attempt, I must admit, almost into the gravel there, as well as we're watching Lando Norris. Not a great race from Lando, to be honest. He's fallen after the graces, and now he's being overtaken by Sir Lewis Hamilton. He's been overtaken by Perez as well. There's Hamilton. Something has happened to Hamilton. He's off the circuit. Can we get past? No, we can't. Here's what happened to Hamilton then. He's battling again with Norris. Both have DRS. I wonder if Norris may have a bit of floor damage, and Hamilton just drives off the circuit as well. Leclerc will go through on this. That's another position for Leclerc. So, although it's Max Verstappen who wins, Leclerc will get fastest lap as well, and 5th place, which he'll definitely take as well. For us, P7, car's not there. We could have done with those upgrades. If we can get the car, then I think we can battle the likes of Mercedes, maybe McLaren, definitely in the races. Gasly's looking good as well. He's definitely looking a lot better than the last time we were teammates with him as well. But Verstappen, he will definitely be happy with pole. It was an easy victory for him in the end. Sainz P2, Perez did very well, P3. Norris in the end finished P4. Don't know about McLaren, with their pace. Norris looked very good in the opening two races. Had a penalty in Australia, and then also suffered today, only P4. So is Norris already out, and is it now a 3-horse race between Leclerc, Verstappen, and Sainz for the championship? 20 points separated those top three. Constructors, we remain P5. For Red Bull, far in front of Ferrari, really. With, of course, Vettel not scoring today, actually. I think he got front wing damage at some point. Russell obviously had that horrendous sprint lap 1 contact, so he only finished P16. So we actually gained points on Mercedes, who are still behind us, even though Hamilton finished P6 today. Russell, Hamilton and Russell, that I don't know, that car is not consistent, and their driving also isn't consistent for what that car needs, really, as well. So we'll look at that. We'll have to wait and see what Mercedes can do at Spain and Monaco. Those 2 episodes will be coming next week sometime as well. Don't know if they're going to be coming Monday, because I may or may not want to do that. Ferrari livery is out Monday, so I might do something with that. I haven't yet decided as well. But Verstappen then, 2 wins in a row now. It's pretty much, it's game on. Sainz is being consistent, hasn't won a race yet. Norris and Perez are starting to get wet. Perez as well has done well. Any one of those top 5 could still pretty much within a shout, but they have to be consistent. They can't be falling behind a Mercedes or one of myself, Ricardo, or anything like that. They have to be consistent to get those points as well. Schumacher getting Haas versus points as well, I should point out, in P10. And a bitter goal for Bottas, who only was 11th as well. So yes, that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. See plenty more F1 22 drive camera videos as when they come out. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and goodbye.